Hi, thank you so much to everyone for joining this masterclass with the MET Orchestra Musicians. I'm Claire Cunningham, CEO and founder of Lessonface, where we have been connecting students with music teachers for live lessons and classes online since 2013. Welcome to the 7th masterclass in this series featuring flute. We are now accepting applications for performers for horn, double bass, oboe, piccolo, and trombone, which are the classes happening through January. If you know any advanced level students, please encourage them to apply. The horn applications close tonight at midnight. The panelists from the MET Orchestra today are Chelsea Knox, Marone Corey, and Stephanie Mortimer. So we begin. Now, Shanna Stone, a student at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, will play the first movement of the Reinecke Flute Concerto. That's beautiful.
Bravo.
Brava.
Full playing. I love your character and your energy. The spirit of this piece is just perfect for me. I think maybe we could talk a little bit about carrying your direction through the phrase just a little bit more. I think sometimes there's a lot of nuance going on, and I love that in certain moments, but for me there was a lot of it. And I would love to edit it just a little bit so that the direction of the phrase is always there, always going through these long lines, so that when you do decide to put those little nuances in, they really mean something special. Maybe can we go back to towards the beginning, around when the theme starts up, measure 28? Do you have measure numbers? Do you think you could play just a little bit there and see if, as we go through this phrase, especially with these big leaps and everything, if you can get the phrase just really directional all the way through, all the way to B? I want like almost no, even with that pochettino slentando, I want it kind of to go all the way, hold the tension all the way through that phrase. See if you can give me a little bit more direction through there. Yeah, good. I think that's definitely what I'm looking for. Yeah, that was wonderful. Really, really beautiful. Let's do another section just to get the same idea going. Actually, how about after? How about after C, that espressivo section? Good. So as we go through this, as we have these accented measures, uh, let's see. So that we're not hitting the note after the accent too hard and disrupting the phrase like like I said, you have so many beautiful characters throughout this whole thing. It's just about making sure that the where you don't mean for those extra oomph to come out, that it smooths out the phrase just a little. Can we hear that one more time from the forte in 83? Good. But okay, that time, yes, the accents, they were totally there. But I lost the phrase just a little bit. I want to hear still that, if it was down the octave, kind of still carrying that line, even though there's a little bit of an emphasis. Yeah, beautiful. Really, really nice. I'm going to talk about one more section and then I'll pass you off to my colleagues at the very end. I again, I love that piacere that you're getting, the the flow, the elegance of it. It's really nice. But for me, it's just taking a little too much time. I would love try it once in one breath. I know. I think right now maybe you're taking three. So see if we can cut out at least one of those breaths, just to get it to flow through there a little bit, with a little bit more ease. Yeah, for me, the ah tempo has a little bit of a slowdown in it, which kind of kills that momentum. Play around with it the measures before that in that ah piacere. And that way, those last two measures, that trill doesn't feel like it goes on for a long time. Because especially if you decide to do this in one breath, that's going to be the moment where you're like, I made a terrible mistake if it gets too slow. Can we hear this last line again? Really lovely. I'll see what Maroon or Stephanie has to say now.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Stephanie, would you like to go ahead, or should I?
Sure, I had something to say about that last note. So first of all, really beautiful job. Yeah, just like Chelsea said, it's very the expression's really there, and just refining it more. Just like she's talking about that longer line, but the last note and other notes like that where you're releasing and it's like the last thing you're doing. This one you played it 3 times, I think, and at least twice I heard a after the note. So is there a way that you can, what are you using for the fingering?
I'm using
The fork?
the normal fingering, but then I'm also adding down the C sharp key.
Okay. There's another option if you are wanting to try it. It's very high, but that means you could relax a little bit. But even, it doesn't matter with fingering, but opening your, I don't know if you could see, but I lifted my top lip, and I'm using my bottom lip to lift as I release, and I release it with the vibrato. So it's with the up side of the vibrato. So we don't, what you wanted to do is when you're releasing notes, you want to use the opening of your lips to stop the note rather than lessening your air. So what's happening is your air support is dropping just before you release the note.
Yeah.
So if you can keep the air support up while you release the note, that would, then you wouldn't get that little noise at the end. You want to try?
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, I don't see you opening your lip. Feel, like a string is pulling your top lip up, and really open. Because when your lips come apart, the sound will stop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah? Yeah. It's very simple. It feels so abrupt, but it doesn't sound that way. And the other thing I think about with high notes like that, when they're really soft, and well, a lot of the notes I play a lot of high notes because I play the piccolo. But I try to think of a clock face, and like where would my air be pointing on that clock face? For me, that's probably around 1 o'clock for that note. Maybe almost at 12. And you can play around with that. Try playing that note and then like move around a little and see what feels the most comfortable. Try 1, 2, 3, 12, see what. What feels the best to you?
Strangely enough, I think like 12 and 1 and 3. Like 2 is a no. Like,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
but more 1 and 12, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I also notice you're using your forehead to help you. Um, try playing in front of a mirror and see if you can make the same effect, but without your forehead. Because when you pull your forehead up, it pulls everything. So it just gives you less control of what you're doing in the lower part of your face. The second thing I wanted to talk about has to do with your tongue. And so if you go to like measure number 152, there's some articulated notes there. And these kinds of passages I would practice without your tongue, because I find, and it's not just you, it's most flute players, including myself, have a tendency to be too heavy on the tongue. And I do a lot of practicing without the tongue, so that then when I add the tongue back in, it's only just a little bit of an assistant. It's not driving the thing, because we play woodwind instruments, right? And it's not wood tongue instrument. So we have to remember that the air is the most important thing. So this thing I would practice. That's just with no tongue. Right? And you can practice it long too. So when you add the tongue, it's lighter. You make your air responsible for it rather than forcing it through with the tongue. The way it is now, it's more like you're using the tongue like a percussion instrument. And we want to think about the tongue as a valve. So do you want to just try that with the ha 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 ha? Little puffs of air. Now, do you hear your air is not fully supporting every single one of those notes. So the goal, try playing it all legato for a second and see if you can really connect. Now try playing it the same way, but add vibrato to all the notes. Some of the notes you're pressing on them, especially the lower notes. So see if you can keep the vibrato throughout the phrase. Again. Yeah, so now that feels much more alive in all the notes. Now can you try it again with the puffs of air, but remember, try just the beginning and feel the placement, like where it sits in your head and in your nose, like it's up here. So try it one more time legato and then do it the other way. Right. And then just one last time, and then I'm going to pass it off to Marone, just with the tongue and just really lightly, not so aggressively, but just la 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 la, almost like you're saying nah. Yeah, so all those kinds of articulated passages can be practiced like that, and they become more lively that way. Yeah. Okay, to you, Marone.
Thank you.
You're muted.
Can you hear me now? Oh, there we are. Yeah, hi. Sounds very pretty, and I really have to. I don't have a whole lot to add besides what Chelsea and Stephanie have said. I have to commend you for watching all the different sections, and you actually played them at different speeds. You started very beautifully, and then you kind of like that first page, you played a little bit more forward, and then in the animato you just picked up. And I played it with orchestra. I didn't play it like that, but it was a community orchestra in New York here. I wanted to comment on that same section Stephanie was commenting on, but I think she had a good strategy of fixing it. Generally, when I hear this piece, it's mostly lyrical, right? Like the techniques, they don't come out to me a lot. The one thing I would do differently, and by the way, I liked your F sharp. Although I can tell you, Stephanie and Chelsea, they're kind of the masters on that stuff. They really know how to work it. And I can tell you, having played by them, they really just nail that stuff. And but to me it sounded wonderful. I would say, like, on the first page, try to get a little bit more grounded feeling. Try to sing through the notes and not to go too forward, okay? Because the beginning with the string start, it's a very rich sound. I think it's the violas that start, or and they keep going. And maybe I don't know how we're doing on time, if we should stop, or if you're welcome to play like a few measures, starting maybe DC measure 26.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, right there. When you get there, make sure you phrase a bit more. All that was beautiful, but take your time on that breath. Da, 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 da. Okay, and especially on those 16th notes, sing them. And why don't you, do you want to go at 31? Right at 31, and right. All right. You nailed that fast section this time. I think it was great. And I did feel more of that grounded feeling. And, to try to think, of that every time you play a lyrical passage or a slow movement. And I thought, good job. I loved your playing very much. And hope next time we'll hear the next movement, or the third movement. Yeah, bravo.
Bravo, wonderful. Thank you. And now Carolyn Lau of Roslyn Heights, New York, will play Poem for Flute and Orchestra by Charles Griffiths.
Beautiful playing. Also very, very expressive playing, and you know, the technique's all there. I want to talk a little bit about French music. I think that we get so hung up on needing to have a big, fat, beautiful sound that we forget about being delicate, and this piece has to grow into your big sound. So I think it's important to remember that you can start out with a much more vulnerable sound, and you can go back to that at certain points in the piece. I mean, think like a Monet painting. So like, and this piece is very mean because it starts out on a C sharp, and for me, I feel like that. If you, the singers talk about the break, and I feel like that's a certain point, like a break for the flute. I've worked on that note by actually trying to add fingers to it and feel, you can put a little more pressure on the note. So if you can add like the 2, 3, however these fingers to it. And try to get your throat completely out of this. I hear your sound is beautiful, and then we get to that C sharp, and it just sounds quite tight on that note. So can you try to play like a D and then go into the C sharp? Go like. And add those fingers, and then you can take them off and see. I think you'll place it a little differently here. Yeah. That sounds much more relaxed. So in the beginning, you can add, there's a great book by Kujala that came out, I don't know how long ago, but a recent edition came out. It's beautiful. It's got even like gold foil on the edging. And he talks a lot in his book about facilitating fingerings. And this is the one place you could use it here. It would also help with the sound on the first note. You can add just your middle finger for the C sharp, just to get really smooth. You hear how that throat came back in there? Yeah, and just really delicate. Just don't be afraid to, you know, not sound perfect. Yeah, can you even do something a little more shimmery on the B? Like, I talked a little with, what was her name, Sasha, the last girl that played?
Yeah.
About playing in the nose, and this is exactly like one of those places where the C sharp, it will start in the nose, but it's going to go up even higher for the B. So think of that opening. Yeah, and keep it going a little bit. Like Chelsea was talking about before with the longer phrase. Good. So, and then the next place I wanted to talk about is 3 before B. You have these grace notes. They're real notes, so make sure they're. That they don't get thrown away. Yeah. Good. And the other thing I wanted to say is, like, this piece, you know, we and pretty much all pieces, it took me to getting to the Metropolitan Opera before I really understood phrasing, because we're trained so much to look at the page and play what's on the page, but you just have to remember that this is alive. This music is alive, and so you can take a lot more time than you think in a lot of areas, and just let the music breathe. Don't be wedded to what you see on the page. Like, try to even take the phrase, like, look at the phrase, but then play it away from the page. Look out the window or something, and be inspired by nature. We get too stuck on what's actually printed here. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention was color shifts. Like right before F, for example, you know, you're in this agitato section, and you're going up to that high A, but then it's like A, and then A, right? So can you show like a change into that more tranquilo section? Like, just start like 2 before F. Great. And that's a place where you can let that music breathe, and you did that this time. The last time it felt a little rushed through there. But you're in charge. This is your piece, and the pianist will follow you, or the orchestra, whoever you're playing it with. So you have to own the music. So I'll pass it to my colleagues.
Take it away, Maron. You went last time.
All right. Thank you. All right. So bravo, first of all. I know it's, you know, the thing with the flute is it seems easy for string players, but we know it's not easy. It's a hard instrument, and I think you did a great job. I'm not too familiar. You know, I've heard this piece many times. I never performed it. I think Stephanie did a beautiful job talking about the sound in the beginning, and the way she was trying to get you to fix it. And I felt like you were trying to control the vibrato just a little bit much. Okay. Just when you play any sound, okay, try to like not control your vibrato too much. Try not to count it. Just make it, you know, you're in control, and just make it natural. You know, just have it. So, and the other thing I wanted to say, be careful the end of the phrases. Okay, make sure you hold the note until the end. Okay, and I noticed a couple of times you did that. Take, for example, look at measure. Do you have letter F?
Yes.
So count after letter F. I think you see, like at the bottom of the page there, the last E.
Yes.
Count back from tempo 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Do you want to just play that passage for me once? Okay, until the tempo 1. Okay. I see. This is what I wanted to hear that I was not hearing. And then before I pass it on to Chelsea, I just want to touch on, so try and be natural. And I want you to just have a little bit more fun when you play. Okay. So let's go to that con focus section at letter L. Okay. And now, okay, I just want you to play it once. Okay. And I'll try and demonstrate how I like to hear it. Do you want to play the first phrase, maybe?
Sure.
Okay, keep going. Yeah, keep going. Okay, all right, very good. Now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but con fuoco, does it mean with fire, right? Fiery.
Yes, with energy.
Okay. I felt like this time you played it more in fire than before. Okay. But still, I think I just want you to like go out there, okay? Okay.
Okay.
So just try and, keep it. I like that section, the con fuoco this time. Do you want to play a little bit of the vivace?
Sure. Should I start from the con fuoco or from the vivace?
Count back from letter M, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay?
Okay.
Just 4 bars. Yeah. Okay, but take a little bit of time. Just breathe. Okay? It's important that you breathe. Okay? Try it again. Go for it. That's it. Okay, very good, very good. So, and then the whole point is when you get to the presto, it should be like, okay, let's see if I can dance it. Okay, yeah. But the whole idea is that it keeps spinning, obviously. And so, so number one is be natural when you play. Don't vibrate too much. And 2, just try to have fun. Okay, think outside of the box. It's your piece. It's about you. Okay. So bravo. I think I'm gonna pass it on to Chelsea. Good work.
Thank you so much.
Keep playing. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Bravo.
Running out of time a little bit, and we don't want to get too behind on the schedule, so I'm gonna leave it with what these guys said. Those were amazing comments from Stephanie and Marone. I definitely agree with everything they said, but I also wanted to just add really lovely playing. I enjoyed listening to you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carolyn. And now Sebastian Brea Perez, a student at Cleveland Institute of Music, will play the Allemande from Partita in A minor by Bach.
I love Bach, and that was really like I liked your phrasing throughout. There was never a sense of stopping. It always had a really nice flow to it, and I appreciated that you varied up some of your articulation and phrasing so that it really kept you kind of moving along with this piece. I think that's something when we look at this piece historically, and then as how a modern flute player would play it, sometimes it can get really rigid, and I like that flexibility. I think that's really nice. One thing I think is important when we approach playing Bach is to have some historical reference. And I for me, some parts of this got just a little too silver fluty.
Okay.
And I don't usually have this opportunity in Masterclass, but I have a Baroque flute right here.
Yes.
Just for comparison, this is going to hurt everyone's brain because it's tuned at 415. But just so you can kind of hear what the timbre. So when you're playing on a Baroque flute, a one-keyed flute, you would have a really clear D major scale. G major is pretty good, E minor is all right. And then as you start to go into the other keys, the timbre gets a little weirder. So as you're playing, if you're playing an G sharps are really covered. The sound is just really hollow, kind of eerie. Same with like C naturals, F naturals. You have to adjust so much on the Baroque flute to make the pitch even remotely close to what we're used to on a modern instrument. That a lot of these pitches you can't play without covering dramatically with your embouchure. So I think when we approach this on the modern flute, we want to not lose entirely the spirit that Bach would have been writing for, which is a really colorful scale. I think as we go through this piece, whenever you see an accidental, besides an F sharp or a C sharp, you should assume that those notes would have had a little bit of extra color and excitement and difficulty on a Baroque flute. So let's go back to the beginning of this and see if as we move into like halfway through the first page, as we go up to the third octave, again, tamp that down just a little bit. Try to keep that a little bit more subdued, less bright flute up in the C's and the E's. Those notes wouldn't be great on a Baroque flute. They'd be really mellow. So see if we can just round it out a little bit.
Okay.
Good. So even right there, can I stop you?
Yeah.
As we're going up those arpeggios, if we can not lean into the top of the arpeggio, but really emphasize those colors in the beginning, that that G sharp, again, that's one of those notes on the Baroque flute that would be really moody. So if we can bring attention to that moodiness in the beginning half of the measure and then lighten up as we go up the arpeggio. Can you start in that measure?
Yeah, you mean like...
Right, do it one more time. Sorry, start it one more time. I'm still hearing just a little bit too strong on the high notes, and I want, again, more attention to the low register. Good. Some nice changes. I think that's exactly what I'm looking for. Just a little bit more attention to the lower register. And then as we're going through, I think on modern flute, because we're playing a C instrument, we look at the C major section and we're like, hooray, C major. It's so bright and beautiful. But on the Baroque flute, again, C natural is not a super strong note. So I think when you go to that C sharp, instead of thinking like, oh, C sharp. It's actually C sharp is the strong note on Baroque flute. So I think shifting the way you think about color so that suddenly, I'll play it in the right key now. The C sharp still has like a presence. It's not just like a disappearing act right there.
Okay.
Phrasing wise, you can think because that major section is such a shift from the minor where we started, it can, you want to set that mood. But sometimes playing around with the opposites in this kind of music can be a lot of fun.
Right.
Let's start right in that C major section, and then I'll pass it off.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Nice. So I think as you approach this whole piece and as you keep working on it, just playing around with seeing if what we think of as weak and strong notes on the modern flute might have a different feel when you listen to historic performances or start just thinking about the accidentals as a different timbre than what you're used to playing.
For sure. Thank you.
Nice.
I guess I go. I really liked your energy with this piece, and you clearly enjoy playing it. And I would love to get a little more, you to get a little more in depth with the harmony of the piece.
Okay.
And have you ever done any analysis, like harmonic analysis?
Yeah. I did actually do this on this piece, but I lost that music. I like color coded all the keys.
Okay.
Right.
You should find that music or do it again.
Okay.
It's really helpful. So I want to talk about that, and also playing around with the idea of masculine and feminine sounds, because you have a very masculine, strong sound. And I think what Chelsea is referring to is that, well, the Baroque flute doesn't really do that all that often. And so kind of you can still play a silver flute like you do, but kind of vary the sound every, so it's not always that same silver, masculine sound. I thought that in bar measure 11, you did that very nicely. And I could use a lot more of that throughout the piece. But to talk about the harmonies, so like the first measure is all minor 1/7 chord.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now you're playing, yeah. So I would, so it's one phrase. And then the second measure has changing chords for each beat. Right? Right? So really finding those chords and outlining them And then in bar, for example, bar 5, it's a 5/7. So we wouldn't want to punch the middle of the bar. Right? It's just one. And then the next bar, da 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 dee, da 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 da. You change in the middle. Bar 7 is a 1, going to E minor. Go. Ah. So you can bring out those leading tones. Right? So you want to try that. So a little less activity in the bars that are just one chord, and then you can bring out the harmonies of the bars that move more. So Sebastian, can you instead of every note being clear and make more of the right? I'm exaggerating, but and here don't stop halfway through the bar. Because we're not going da, da. It's just one chord. Da, 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 da. So you like a like it's a bow stroke.
Okay.
And then, yeah, this is good. Bar 5, can you be more delicate with that bar, because the next bar is much more interesting harmonically. You're just in the 5 chord and it's not moving. The whole bar 5 is the same. But then when you get to bar 6, you change in the middle of the bar. It's a drastic shift in harmony. So don't make such a big deal of bar 5.
Okay.
Try from bar 4. Sorry. We have so little time. I'll just stop you. Do you hear how when you're playing the not the downbeat, but yeah. A little less on the other notes. Just much more delicate. You're kind of hitting, like, for example, in bar 5, the E. Right? So we don't want to punch that note. Right? Okay. Just try again from bar 4. Yeah, good. I think you could start even like bar 7. I think you could start a little meno in terms of your character, because you have a long way to go. Yeah, and remember, you're trying to get all the way to the end of the piece. So by the end of the piece, you certainly want to have that strength, but I don't think you need it here. You can start. It's an amazing piece to listen to, but it needs variety, or it just gets to be all the same. So I think you can wait with your sound to bring out that power that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to pass it on to Marone now. Bravo.
Yeah, good job. I love the Bach partita. I don't think the world would be different without Bach in general. I thought Chelsea and Stephanie did an amazing job telling you what I really thought. I like that you analyzed the harmonies for it. I know many people that try to do that, and it's definitely beneficial for us. We're not pianists, and just I know we need to wrap this up, but just a word of advice. I don't believe that any two notes are exactly the same, and I feel like this is one of those pieces that it has so many harmonies and so many lines that we need to make a difference. It definitely needs to have that lighter sound, and try to think of longer phrases. I thought you did a pretty good job with the first page. I felt like on the second page, when I sort of needed some, dynamics, some phrases, some things like that. And we never get any dynamics in Bach or Mozart. So it's really upsets. And just keep going. Bravo, good job. And I have to say, this is the first time when I really felt like I myself needed to get a wooden flute. It sounds like a great thing to have. And thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much. Yeah. Wow.
Thank you again, Sebastian. And now Joanna Lau, a student at Harvard College, will play Caprice number 30, Chacon by Sigrid Karg-Ellert.
Right. Wow. Incredible job. I'm just amazed. And I see you go to Harvard University. You're not a flute major at Harvard, are you? Wow. It's really impressive that you can, you know, play with such command, you know. I really, it's very impressive. This is, when I went to Curtis, this was one of the first pieces I played. I recorded it for Kobe competition for flute. And my earliest memory of this is I was with my brother in this practice room, and we were like, we were recording it over and over and over again. And we recorded it like 40 times, and I never made the round. So anyway, so what I loved about it is the nuance. It really sounds like you put some thought into it. You know, you didn't jump from section to section too fast. Here's what I would do better on if I were playing it. So first off, I felt like your opening variations, especially like the theme, variation 1, even variation 2, they were a little bit too slow for me, too fast for me. Okay. So I felt maybe you could take a little bit of time. And then the fast variations, I felt like you could go out there. You could, you know, try and I'll see like if I can demonstrate. So, oh, and by the way, I didn't say, this piece always reminds me of this violin piece. I don't know if you know it. It's called the Vitaly Chacon. It's for violin. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of music. Anyway, I think I'm looking at measure 11, for example. Okay, you played it something like, I would go forward there. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little too close to the mic, but I hope I demonstrated a little bit. Why don't we? Okay, so and then like measure 8, if you look, I'm sorry, variation 8 is where I felt you could go a little bit faster. So I want you to like try and you know. I will, you know, I didn't address the beginning. I felt you have a gorgeous tone. I felt your vibrato may have been just a little bit too involved for me. But I kind of would like to work on, you know what, why don't we take it from the beginning? Okay, let's work on the first 2 variations. Here's what I want you to do. On variation 1, okay, just go, try to pick a little bit more grounded tempo, okay, so that you're not going too fast. And then in the beginning, when you play the theme, okay, don't, I know these are low, you have the sforzandos, but try to like play with the tone, you know, without overusing vibrato, okay? So yeah, why don't you go ahead and play the theme variation 1. Okay. I like it. What I'm looking for is this more, I kind of want like a more earthy tone on the bottom, okay? And I don't know if this is gonna come, if this is the audio but this is how I want it. Okay, so strive like I just want a fuller tone. Okay. Yeah. It sounds. You see, this is like opposite of Bach.
Yeah.
Because in Bach we need to be real light. This piece, I feel like it needs to be more. You know, obviously it needs to be played with a lot of character and like just a very big sound. Okay. So, yeah.
Is that the beginning?
Sure. Yeah. All right. Okay. I like it. I'm not gonna play around with it too much. And obviously this is a solo piece, so we can take our time a little bit. But what I personally, if I were to play it, variation 1, I would go a little bit slower. Okay. And variation 3, I would start like moving forward a bit. Okay. But I don't want to spend too much time on this because I really felt you sounded great. If we could like start like on variation 8, okay? Because that's what I felt like you could, you know, move just a bit forward, okay? So try to play variation 8 like a little faster, and then when you get to variation 9, see if you can get like those runs a bit faster and a little bit more brilliantly, okay? All right, right at variation. I know that's a difficult one. Okay, so try to like hold those 3 notes. Okay, can we just do that measure? All right, yeah. Do the measure right under it, okay? All right, cool. Why don't we, okay, I wanted to, before I pass it off, you know, let's play through that variation and maybe variation 10, and then I'll hand it off to Stephanie or Chelsea. Okay. Yeah, that high note. That's what I wanted to talk about. Just don't be afraid of it. Okay. If you have to play a louder enough. Okay, so just hold it a bit, and why don't you try that one more time? Okay. Can you maybe vibrate it a little bit? Okay, very good. Yeah, so out of all those runs on variation 10, I like the last one the best. It felt like you went for it. Okay, and I feel like as long as you do that in the previous bars, I think that will help. Look, I thought you did a tremendous job. Okay, and I didn't want to take too much time. I think I'll hand it to either Chelsea and Stephanie. Bravo again. And
cool. Stephanie, do you want to go in case you're short on time?
Yeah, sure. So I have never played this, but I do know that it's based on the 4 notes at the beginning of the piece. I did a little bit of research on it, and there's actually, it looks like a Chinese paper about this piece, about this chaconne, and it analyzes it in the same way that I was talking with Sebastian about it. Some of the notes, the areas where you would want to bring out, it doesn't seem so obvious. So if you actually Google Kargeler chaconne, it's one of the first things that come up. And they first of all talk about the chord structure of the first 4 notes. So it's not just the notes themselves, but the actual chord, the F minor chord, E minor or E major, I guess. E minor and D minor, and then C minor as well. So we're outlining those chords, and in some cases, in some of the variations, you're not going to necessarily pick out the note that's part of the chaconne, the 4 notes that it's based on. But I did, having never heard it before and listening to you play it, I guess I didn't realize the structure of the piece as clearly as I did when I looked at it. And so I guess I wanted to hear more of bringing out those notes, similar to what we were talking about with the Bach. Just really outlining the chord structure, but then just having a lot more lightness and fun with the other stuff. For example, the variation that you were working on, I think it's variation 8 or 11, where you're going up to the high A?
Yeah.
10. Is it 10?
Yes.
Yeah. Maron's saying don't be afraid of that A, but I think you're still afraid of it because I don't think you need that much time to set it up. You sound like you have pretty good technique. Can you just try to almost like there's no break, like it's a slur. Imagine you're like a singer. Oh, try something like that. Do you need all those breaths?
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm wondering because it sounds very planned. Could you eliminate a couple of those? Yeah, and you don't have to spend exactly the same amount of time on each of those half notes, it looks like. It's a kind of blurry copy on my iPhone. Now, when you get to that next variation, could you just play the first couple bars of that? Okay. So what's interesting to me looking at this analysis is that they've got the da 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 and then not circled. So it's D, F, and then going to the A, B. And then skipping the next one, E, and skipping, and then D. So it's like really trying to outline the harmony. So you'd play da 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 da. You know what I mean? So you'd skip emphasizing. I know he writes it, but can you do a little less of the forte piano on the third figure and also the sixth? So it's A. So it's on the G sharp and the A. Yeah. Yeah, and that makes it sound just more interesting. It's more about the harmony. Check out this paper because I think it'll really help you bring this to the next level. But I mean, it's already, your technique's already there. I think you just need to have more fun with it and just treat it like it is a Baroque piece that's just been kind of, you're just like doing jazz on a Baroque piece. So anyhow, bravo. I'll pass it to Chelsea.
Yeah, echoing what Stephanie and Marone both said, it's beautiful. So this piece is so hard, and I'm definitely not going to demonstrate any of the technical stuff. But one thing that I think Marone touched on, and when he was demonstrating those first four measures, like his low register is like goals for me at least. I think that those first four measures need to be so interesting that I want to hear 17 more variations on them. So I think as you keep working on this piece, try setting like a recording of that. Make those first four measures like your drone. And as you get towards the end, it may be possible to fit all those notes into each of those dotted half notes, but I think if you put all of that intention into those notes from the very beginning, if you're already thinking about the 17th variation as you play those notes, and if they feel really full of anticipation, I think it sets the piece up as it just sets it up where people are going to want to hear more and more and more. For me, as we got towards the end, the stuff that I definitely cannot play right now, you play it so wonderfully. You have the technique. I want a little bit more frenzy. For me, it was a little safe. You take the time that you need to feel really secure, but I think you don't need as much time as you were taking sometimes, especially in the last two variations. I think you can just really let go, keep that underlying bass structure where you're really thinking of like a really slow metronome, and you're still hitting the changes on each one. I think also thinking that way for some of the slower variations where the harmony shifts or suspends or isn't quite on the downbeats, that'll help you feel where it holds over or where it's just a little bit unexpected. So yeah, I would work on really getting that chaconne theme as your bass line for this whole thing and playing it underneath every single variation until it feels like that is so ingrained in this piece. Mm-hmm. And yeah, really beautiful job, everybody today. Just so much talent. It's really a joy to hear some live performances again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for the wonderful performances and coaching today. I hope you'll join us for our next master classes, which are bi-weekly on Sunday afternoons. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Stay well and see you soon.